With over 20% of the television market and almost 23% of the smartphone market, Samsung is a dominant force in consumer electronics worldwide. The products Samsung makes help shape how we live, how we work, and how we play. So I'm super excited to introduce my good friend, Wanda Young, CMO at Samsung Electronics America. Wanda, wow, these are really challenging times. Thanks so much for being here.
Shelly, I'm so glad to see you. Thank you for having me.
And I don't want to harp too much on it. We've had political challenges, we have medical challenges, we have societal challenges, we have economic challenges, and all of them have really had a giant impact in the way consumers approach everything. And as a chief marketing officer, this has to be challenging too. And I just wondered out loud, and I want to just ask you, what are the changes that you've seen that have been most impactful?
We've spent so much time just trying to get closer to our customers. And we're doing a ton of just daily listening. And it goes all of the way. Obviously, we're in the US, but as we go back and listen to customers even around the world and compare notes, it has affected everyone everywhere. And that's been the one common theme. We talk to all of our countries, and it has been truly a global pandemic. And while that sounds, okay, that's common and simple, it's not. It has really been the thing that has been so stunning to see how heartfelt everyone has commonly felt that this is the thing that has leveled us across the board. And when we look at what that means as it relates to like, what does it change in terms of how we've reacted as a company to, we've realized that, consumer tech, it has to do more. And that means that as we think about the way that we develop our products, we had to start looking at what was in our pipeline and how were we going to change the way we brought things to market. So here's maybe an interesting statistic for you. We started observing the behavior that we had on some of our existing devices, and 30% of people started washing their clothes more. Well, why? Because we care about being more clean, more hygienic as people, even though they stayed home, wanted to just show that they're cleaning more, that they're being more sanitary and more hygienic, right? And so one of the things that led to for us is to realize that we should be deploying some of our own AI into how we are using that technology in things like our washing machines. And so part of what we do at CES is we're talking about our AI-powered washing machines to use that intelligence in how we innovate with our own basic home appliances. And it's coming from this type of change.
Yeah, most people, when they think about Samsung's use of AI, they think about it in the context of the AI models Samsung trained to upconvert video. By the way, everybody, if you haven't seen Samsung television sets convert regular HD to 8K, you owe it to yourself to check it out. I promise you, it's worth your time. It's a really just a great AI use case. But let's switch gears for a second. Wanda, let's talk about 5G.
One of the things that I was talking with you about, I don't know how many months ago, is we were saying, is 5G moving fast enough in this world? And I don't mean the speed of 5G. We were talking about how does it get deployed faster? How do we get access to 5G? And more importantly, who's getting access to 5G? And so Samsung is a leader in deploying 5G. And I think that one of the stories that hasn't been told quite enough is that we actually own the patents, more patents than anyone else in the world. But interestingly enough, a lot of people don't understand that we're deploying and building the 5G networks in the US. So it's interesting that we were the first handset maker to bring 5G to the US. But as you watch in the marketplace, one of the things you were talking about is like, man, I just don't see it moving fast enough. That's one of the things that you've been saying for quite a while, right? But now what we've been talking about is how does it move faster into more places? And so 5G Link, it's one of the things we're actually working on with Verizon. And so as an example, I'm here inside 837. I told you many, many months ago about the fact that we wanted to have this building outfitted, and now it does have 5G in it. And so the ability to have buildings outfitted with it as a closed loop network so that buildings are operating as a closed loop network. And so that's going to happen for more facilities, hospitals, institutions, so that it can enable the power of it. And so it's not just about when you're on the go with mobile technology, but it works for buildings. But it's also about rural areas. We are working to make sure that it's getting deployed with rural areas, working with AT&T, and then also using it for radio networks. So I think that thing that we talked about so many months ago about the fact that it's got to get to as many places, as much access for all, I think it's happening now. And so I feel much more positive about where it's headed. And hopefully you do too.
No, I'm a big 5G is inevitable. There's no question about that. We are going to live in a 5G world. The question is, how are we going to get there and who's going to lead? Clearly, you guys have taken a giant position in 5G, as has Verizon and all the carriers. We know it's coming. The consumer benefits as they roll out, they're exciting. They truly are. Some of it, as you know, I've said, and I'm not going to go back on what I've said at all. It's 95% marketing hype and 5% marketing hype. Maybe now it's only like 4% marketing hype. There's some good 5G stuff. Look, thinking about the way consumers approach everything. The actual capability of 5G is only good if you've got apps and streaming and content that's coming at you on screens that you care about. Talk to me about that a little bit.
This is what was interesting. We keep doing research, as you know. We talk to consumers all the time. We're doing primary research. We do observed research. We look at behavioral data on our devices, the tablets, phones, et cetera. Do you know like 67% of Americans now are doing gaming of all kinds? And so you've got, your hardcore gamer, your casual gamer, et cetera. And so we really had to take another step back and say, we have to do more. And so it's everything from, our hardcore gaming monitors, but even just as you look at like our QLED TVs, we have built a gaming bar now so that when you are on this beautiful, 75-inch device, you can pull up your gaming bar in order to be able to change the aspect ratios because you never know, Shelly, who's around that corner that's going to shoot you. It's really important. You're going to lose if you don't have the ability to look around the corner. And so that's what we've learned from visiting with our gaming influencers. They've taught us these things. And that's one of the observed behaviors. We were already in the space, but through COVID and people spending time at home, you do have to have these escape mentality in order to, this is where the American public has gone. I couldn't believe these numbers as we started looking at it. And then again, it was observed behavior as we looked on what we've seen with all of our devices. And so when we look at how that has changed, it really has been stunning. And even as we talk about the difference between applications like that or streaming, and we look at the other aspect of where this has gone, fitness was the other place as it relates to apps. And we had, done some there, but really the next place that we knew that we needed to go is to leverage how people could do more. And again, it's back to home, health, fitness, hygiene. And that's why we talked to you about how you could have this trainer and use your big screen TV in order to really get fit. Because why are you not leveraging this device for as many things that you could do for both entertainment as well as to have training and to have on-demand fitness training? So those are the other places where we've taken applications because, again, consumer is showing us this is what they want. They're telling us, and we're listening and observing, and it's all changing the way the technology has got to evolve. So we're trying to make sure that we're listening and observing. And I think that's honestly about this kind of whole concept of just the flexible home and honestly the fact that tech has got to follow, right?
I think, Wanda, I think everybody's got some anecdotal story about the way they've changed their consumption of media. You go to bed at night, you used to turn on the TV set if you were a certain age and you'd, watch television in the evening. Kids would watch their laptop or their handheld or their tablet sitting on the couch next to you if they would consider sitting next to you. And everybody sort of has adopted based on their ages, different preferences. All of that seems to have changed. If you talk to people right now, people are going to bed and they're taking out their handheld and they're watching some videos before they go to bed, or what would have been prime time. And then you see all of a sudden this massive 4K video streaming world where you can finally, over the top, get these magnificent images and finally take advantage of the set that, you bought a 4K set and you had a 2K cable. It was no fun at all. With so much going on, what do you think is next? Like, how does this all manifest itself? And the follow-on to that question is, what does our audience need to know about the way this is changing and the way that they need to adapt and the way that you guys are adapting?
The interesting part about where it's all going is that the flexibility of devices that can actually flip its duality, I think, is one of the key trends. That's what I'm seeing. This concept I just mentioned a little bit ago about how I was in the middle of my workday, but I wanted to be able to shift into news mode. And so I took my remote and shifted it into TV on the smart monitor. It's that same concept where I just talked about the big screen TV, where I'm going to be able to flip it into gaming mode because I want to do gaming now. Those aspect ratios changing. And then I'm going to move it into fitness mode. And I'm going to do a live training session with my trainer. The same thing is happening as it relates to retail. So we've got, I'm in a retail space right now. It's not currently being used because we closed it, but we use it we have live virtual agents. And so we're the first consumer electronics retailer to be using live virtual agents to help you with actually completing your purchase. But we also know with research, consumers still prefer, believe it or not, to go into store and purchase. They still want to pick up the device, in particular if you're looking at they're still getting to measure and see if that, range, refrigerator, wash, it fits. And if we're talking about some of our flexible, customizable units where you can actually see the color, they prefer physical retail. That is still what they're telling us with research. So what's the next evolution of that is our ability to actually show them and take them through the space. And so we're looking at how that can become a real shopping environment. And so the virtual shopping experience that's actually good, if you understand what I mean.
I do. As opposed to that other virtual experience, which is no fun at all.
It's just not been good. And so these are the types of experiences that we're exploring because we're trying to, again, meet the customer's needs where they are and what they're asking us for. Because what they've definitely shown us is they have definitely shown us with their clicks that they want the information from us, that they want to buy from us, and the direct-to-consumer ability to do every form of omni-channel with us. And so we've just got to evolve faster in order to get there with them. And so that is definitely what we're trying to do. And I think that opportunity to actually leverage with AI, with virtual experiences, is just needing to move faster. And so I think that what we're talking about is make it happen quicker. Because their safety is paramount, is the real key.
Sure. What's new and exciting? What this is CES. This is technically the week that everybody just descends on Las Vegas, and of course we're not. We're doing it virtually. What?
Thank God. Thank God I'm not there. Oh my God, I was so happy this time to actually not be flying to Vegas this time. How many years has it been that you've not been in, Vegas?
I have to tell you, this past week, Facebook will send memories, as you know, where were you 5 years ago, 6 years ago, so many pictures of CES. And I'm like, oh my goodness. And I like to complain about Las Vegas. It's my favorite thing to do, is just complain about how much.
Absolutely. Every January.
Can't stand it. Because I'd love to be there right now. I really would. But anyway, notwithstanding, what's super exciting to you personally?
I remember being there so many years ago and seeing self-driving auto technology. And thinking, as the cars were trapped, in their little boxes on the floor, and thinking, it's really interesting. I'm not really sure, again, similar, when will we actually be using them and really seeing those deployed? And sitting here in New York, still don't see that happening, right? Was looking at our little vacuum cleaner here that is on our floor, and we use LiDAR technology, which is the self-driving car technology. And as I look at where I think that the convergence of the technology movement is going, of things like LiDAR specifically, those are the places where it's like, where does that get deployed in small spaces? It may seem small to you, but I think that one of the things that we've said for so long is that technology that's helpful, technology that is human, technology that makes a difference in the everyday person's life It's not the CESs where you go there and it's the untouchable, where it actually makes no difference to anybody and it's so far off that you actually never see it deployed. Those are actually the smaller things. You and I had the conversation about what's the breakthrough things. Sometimes it's actually the smaller things. It's actually when I see LiDAR getting deployed in a robotic vacuum that is smart enough to know, do not drag yourself through my pet's home mess because it's that smart. It's using that type of technology. That's actually the places where I'm like, this is the intelligent design that I'm looking to see get deployed, because there are far more people who are going to leverage and use that in their homes, because that's actually where you actually see it getting used. And so you may think it's funny,
No,
but
I actually agree.
I believe those are the places where it actually means it's making a difference in someone's life.
Wanda, thanks so very, very much. Wanda Young, CMO, Samsung Electronics Americas. Again, thanks for being so gracious with your time.
Thank you for having me. Look forward to seeing you again.